Hi everyone, this is Balazs from Racing Brick. You've probably seen my detailed preview. Today I can finally open the box and show you all the details about the new LEGO Ideas Orient Express. You will be able to see every interesting moment of the building process. I also have some other trains here for comparison, so let's get started. After the reveal, I received hundreds of comments and the reactions were, well, let's say mixed. I've already talked about the box, so now it's really time to see what we get inside. There are 23 numbered and 3 unnumbered bags and a large envelope with the instructions and the sticker sheets. So, first bad news, and sorry, this set unfortunately has a few. The sticker sheet that comes with the first batches of the set will most likely be wrong. The stickers here with the yellow background should actually be metallic gold instead. I received the corrected sticker sheet from LEGO, so you'll see that one on the train. If you buy the set and still get the wrong sheet, you will need to contact LEGO customer service to have them send you the correct stickers. I know that's not the best start, but now let's look at the instructions. We get a nice long introduction from Thomas, the fan designer at the beginning. Somewhat ironically, he tells us how he carefully studied the Pacific 238K8 locomotive and tried to carefully replicate it. We can see his design at the bottom of the page. Well, as we know, the end result looks very different. In the next few pages we get some information about railways in general, then about the history of the Orient Express, actually a lot of information over several pages, which is nice, then a few words from the LEGO designers who worked on the project. The base, the wagons and the locomotive are built from different bag sets, so it is possible to build together with someone. Here is the parts list if you are interested, and now let's start building. We have the tracks in the first two bags, which means we are starting with a fairly repetitive phase, but at least the progress is very visible. The build is growing fast. The rails have a strange shade, I think it is pearl dark grey, but I'm not 100% sure. Whatever it is, it's definitely a new color for these pieces. And here is the finished base, giving us an idea of the size of the set, almost 117 centimeters long. You can see the first minifigure for scale. This train is going to be huge. Bag 3 starts with the base of the dining car. And it is finished very quickly with a few simple bricks and plates. You do need to pay attention to the orientation and placement of the printed bricks though. I like the combination of dark blue and pearl gold elements, it looks great so far. The next phase has the first stickered pieces. These wooden panels are really beautiful and detailed. The car fender piece blends in well here. Attaching the first doors with the corrected metallic stickers. We have two tables with lots of accessories. The lamps only have 3 pieces but they look great. I really like the upside down cupcake. The seats are also more than simple LEGO chairs with some snot techniques, we have 4 of them in total. Here is a not so well aligned mirror sticker that you have to place in this piece, quite a challenge and you really only have one shot at it. The bar area is otherwise very nicely detailed, we have bottles and other small items like this printed line piece. Bag 7 has the brand new piece that was created to be able to make this one brick layer wide window structure that is assembled sideways with the attachment points at the bottom. Here comes the beautiful cut glass mirror that can also be found on the original train. The roof is again a repetitive section, we had to add 32 slopes. I like the way these sidewalls are constructed and mounted. But then we have to attach the printed city names and again an embarrassing mistake. These capitals should actually be written in their local format, but there are 2 mistakes. Bucharest should have a U instead of the A, and Munich should be written like this. That's too bad and there is no official information whether this mistake will be corrected in the future or not. The first structurally interesting section of the build goes under the car, and this continues with the bogies, nothing too complicated, but a refreshing use of parts with all the tiles and the cleavers on the end. The wheels are the newer plastic types, which I don't think LEGO train fans really like. Here's the part that connects the cars, and we can attach it to that transparent brick on the tracks. Next car please. But before that we have another smaller build, some luggage. The gems in the chest are cool, but I'm surprised to see the mosquito trapped in amber, straight out of the Jurassic Park sets. 2 coins are in the box and we also have a letter. Bag 10 contains the base of the second car, which is quite similar to the previous one, except for this cool pattern on the floor. Again, there are some very nice sticker decorations on the walls, then the same structures as before are added. Now comes the interesting part, the interior and decoration of this car, which seems to be much more detailed and exciting than the previous one. Here we have a car door towel, then this nice sink with a tap. Based on some more recent sets like the Concorde or the Natural History Museum, I think LEGO designers have clear priorities about the most important everyday necessities. These premises get the coolest details and building techniques, and this set is no exception. More nice little items are on the table here, and on the other side we have a lovely couch. Some people don't like it when LEGO makes new, seemingly specialized pieces, but I think they encourage designers to use them in new, unusual ways afterwards. This great bed might have looked very different and simpler 10 years ago. More hidden luggage from the wealthy passengers, and another example of a simple but clever use of parts to build this smaller bed. This cool assembly has the special spherical mirror on one side, with some extra decoration for the master bedroom, and the top bunk on the other side. The last element here is the small table with the lamp and the backgammon table. Check out this clever leg piece here, and the inside of the car is done. I think this is the level of detail and the amount of interesting solutions that anyone would expect from the whole set. The rest of the build has exactly the same features and assemblies as the other car, so there are no other surprises. It's time to put this one on the track as well and connect the two cars together. This is where we are after Bag 16. The next item to build is the tender. There are some unusual color choices for the inner structures. Assembling this base is quite interesting because the center section can slide in those slots. I suppose that helps with the curves. We also have different shades of blue and a lot more brick build details on the outside than before. We are now building a cool snod block for the rear. You can also see the inner support arches. The sides are covered with standard tiles that are attached to a row of studs, but there's also this newer type with studs on the back that whoops. So if you do that, you better support those brackets from the inside when you try to push the side panels in place. This thing isn't as sturdy as it looks. It is still not the best, but if you add those corner plates, it helps a lot, and we are actually building up on the structure, so it ends up being super sturdy. Now it's time to mount the wheels, and the last part is the door for the top, and the tender is finished. I like all the details we have on it, and the sliding center wheels are still functional. The locomotive starts with a bit of technique, then some more, and honestly, I have no idea why we have these alternating bushes and wheels on the cross axles. I'm sure they won't be powered, so if anyone has any ideas, please let me know in the comments. We have similar shades of blue as before for some interior pieces, complete 2x8 bricks, and even a classic car fender piece. Well, parts I really wouldn't have expected to see in a steam engine: city helicopter blades. I'm afraid that train fans, much like Technic fans, won't be too pleased with the colorful internals. To be honest, I'm glad the interior isn't completely black or dark blue, because the instructions are already challenging enough to follow for some outer sections. Here comes the sticker with the number, followed by a few more pieces to cover the top, and then a nice black bucket. The first larger dark blue and also gold printed elements to cover the sides of the boiler, then some rods for the top, and after a few more printed pieces we add the dark blue minion heads and the gold minifig pants. More details are added to the cab, actually a lot more to this area. For example, here is a telephone receiver. Here's the side of the cab with the Sapphire Star label. It is actually connected at the bottom section, a tricky solution. Here's a little confirmation in the manual. Apparently the Sapphire Star name is a nod to the Emerald Knight. Here comes the roof, then it's time to mount the wheels, and here's the brand new coupling rod piece. This is how it attaches to the wheels. Pay attention to the orientation of the wheels on both sides, they are not identical. Here comes the trick: one Technic cross axle with a cross block, then the second rod with an open 1x1 and a microphone, and now it works. The last bag has a tricky assembly and a surprising amount of Technic elements again. We build the leading truck, and this is how it is attached to the main build. This bracket first appeared 2 years ago, but honestly I've never seen it before. We are glad it exists because it fits right in here. The last assembly goes into place and we are done. So here is our Orient Express in its full glory, and I have to say it looks really impressive in person. I'm not a train expert, so I can't tell you much about the proportions or the details, but if I hadn't seen the original submission, I would say it's a decently detailed train with a visible emphasis on the cars. Let's take a closer look at the minifigures. I think the most detailed one is Thomas, the fan designer. I love the brick built camera he has. Then we have Pippin Reed as a little Easter egg from the Adventures theme, and the rest of the passengers and stuff are nicely detailed and have lots of accessories too. So this is what the train looks like on the tracks, and I noticed something strange. The rail parts are slightly bent. I've pushed them down a few times, but they keep coming back. I'm not sure if this is due to the structure of the base or a manufacturing defect. It will be good to check other reviewers' experience with them. Now it's time for a comparison. Many people think that this locomotive looks very similar to the Hogwarts Express. I have this release. It comes from this set. The layout and construction may be similar, but the Orient Express is actually much bigger. Not as big as the collector's edition, of course, but the difference in size is still clearly visible. Now let's put the crocodile locomotive here. Back those days, we thought this icon set was the first in a series. Well, it still might be, but then it takes a long time to get the second one. I think they look great together, and if we swap out the two locomotives, this combination is very nice too. Yes, I know what you are thinking. Let's grab a remote and try it. That one will come too. So, can you push the Orient Express on a regular city track? Yes, you can. No problem. Will anyone actually do it? I don't think so. At this point, we need to talk a bit about LEGO ideas and the whole transformation from fan design to LEGO product. In some cases, the difference is very subtle, like with these awesome space-themed postcards here. In other cases, we see a visible change in size, scale or functionality, then questions are already raised, but if the end result looks nice and provides a nice building experience, then most people are happy. And here we are with this set. The original focus was clearly on the locomotive. It was big, impressive and detailed, but couldn't run on normal LEGO tracks. The Ideas team really wanted to make that happen, so adjusting the scale was a priority. But this is also a licensed set, and apparently the licensing partner had a lot to say and focused, understandably from their point of view, on the cars. To keep it within the budget, the locomotive was obviously scaled down. But at least we have optional motorization, right? Since it's compatible with the tracks and it is not a display piece. Well, there is no official motorization option. According to the designers, they tried all possible combinations, but the train was just too heavy. Twice as heavy as a normal city train. You know, the city trains that have so much power and can go so fast they derail easily. Interestingly, you can still clearly see how the designers tried to solve the motorization problem, because the tender is practically still powered up ready. There is enough room inside for the city hub, the button is easy to reach, and we even have a door for the motor cable leading to the locomotive. I'm sure LEGO train fans will solve the rest of the problem in no time. So, who is the target audience? Well, clearly not the hardcore train fans. They might like the detailed wagons, but I'm sure most of them would have preferred to buy these separately and still get a decent locomotive. So, is it a complicated icon set then, similar to the vehicles, packed with cool building techniques and functions? Well, not exactly. Most of the build is pretty basic. There are a few interesting solutions in the sleeping car and in the locomotive, but much less altogether than expected. Will someone then buy it to push it along with a few city trains on a LEGO train layout? I don't think so. Will it be a nice display piece for casual adult builders? Probably, but then why the change of scale? And to be fair, if I were an adult collector, I wouldn't be happy if I got my $300 set with an incorrect sticker sheet, misprinted tiles, bent rails and so on. And don't get me wrong, at the end of the day it's still a nice and impressive LEGO set for most people. I know it all sounded too negative for some of you, but I just don't understand who the target audience is, considering the changes that were made compared to the original Ideas submission. So, I think this video is already long enough. I will make a separate one with all the motorization tests. Here's a little sneak peek for the impatient viewers. As you can see, the solution may not be so obvious, but I don't think it's impossible either. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything you would like me to try or show, without completely rebuilding the set or sourcing a full 9V system. Tell me what you think of the set based on all the details you've seen today. Does it look better or worse than before? Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications because there are more exciting LEGO videos coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.